it's Mike with Tech PB, and today I'm going to show you how to take apart a vise. Actually, the vise and the Protege come apart just about the same. So first thing we're going to do is, what you want to do is remove the panel off of the right side. Go ahead and carefully disconnect the wiring harness. And what you will need to do from there is there's two screws holding the grip frame on. There's one in the back inside here, and there's one in the front. Coincidentally, the screw that is holding the front of the grip frame in also holds the low pressure regulator in place. So when you unscrew the screw out of the bottom, not only will you be able to pull the grip frame away like this, but you will also be able to pull out the low pressure regulator. Now, one of the things that I do recommend you do is go ahead and just thread the screw back inside there. Okay. Now, how you remove the or disassemble your low pressure regulator to clean the piston is very simple. The first thing you're going to do is unscrew this first screw, which is your low pressure regulator pressure adjustment screw. Then if you look inside here carefully, you're going to see that you can use a larger Allen key to actually unscrew the cap. So what you do is you put your larger Allen key inside here, and you can start to unscrew the cap. Okay, out comes the cap, and hopefully, there we go, out comes the coin and the spring. Now, I have a trick on how to get the piston out, which is inside there. It's generally very difficult to grab it with a pair of needle nose pliers. You're going to have to grab it just right to get it out. I have a trick using super glue. Basically what you do is you Okay, now on the vise low pressure regulator, I don't know of another way of doing this. I'm sure that, Terry or maybe even Joe can tell me another way of doing this, but one of the hardest things to do is getting the piston out of the low pressure regulator. There's just no way to grab it with the, with a long needle nose pliers. So here's what I do. I take a nail, and I put a drop of super glue on the back of the nail, and then I stick it down inside there and let it sit there for maybe about 5 minutes until it glues. Now with that, you can easily pull out the piston as you see here. You can lube it, clean it up, whatever, and then when you need to, you can just simply break the nail away from the piston after you lube it up. So that's a trick on how to get the piston out. I don't know of another way of doing it. I've seen some of the techs sometimes blow in there. That seems to work. I can't get it to work that way. But basically what I do is I take the piston, put a drop of super glue on the end of a nail, stick it down inside there to the middle part of the piston there, let it glue, and then you can just simply slide it right out, and then you can, once it's out, you just take it and just push it down, and thunk, it just pops right off. So just a very, very small amount of super glue is all it takes to slide this out. You lube this back up again, stick it back in there, and you're all set. Okay, the next thing we're going to show you how to do here is take apart the new 360 regulator. This is actually a really easy regulator to take apart. There's nothing to this at all. All you do is unscrew the bottom. You're going to notice inside here that Bob Long has installed a washer that goes over the Schrader valve to prevent people from screwing their piston in too far and damaging their Schrader valve. So make sure that that this little collar, this bushing or washer, whatever, stays on top of the Schrader valve. Some regulators are going to have this, some regulators don't, but as you can see, it's just a little collar, and you just want to make sure that you keep that on top of the Schrader valve. Okay, sometimes you can get all this to come out. Let's see if we get lucky. Here we go. Okay, and let this bottom piece come out, and I'm going to have to unscrew this out of the bottom. Okay, let's go ahead and pull the screw out all the way, and then we can just poke it. Boop, out it comes. Okay, this is basically all you got here. You get a bunch of washers. You got your top piece, your top piston, your little plate here at the bottom. That's about it. So basically all you do is take some Dow 55, lubricate the top. Okay, and just like a lot of the washer designed regulators, you're going to start with the bottom piece is going to be facing towards the bottom piece. So you're going to want to have it like an upside down bowl first. So you put that down, go up, down, up, down, up, down, and then up. And then what you do is carefully put the top piece back on there. Make sure it all lines up perfectly. Okay. And then what you do is slide this back into your regulator, and that's all put back together again. Take your bottom nut, screw back into the bottom until it's about flush. Now on the bottom nut, a good starting point is about 4 turns in. If you want a good starting point on the bottom nut there. So usually once you get it about flush, go 4 turns in. That's a pretty good starting point to start chronographing your gun. And then screw this back into the bottom. Okay, that's it. That's how you take it. The next thing I'm going to show you how to do is take out your ram, which is very easy. First thing you want to do is go ahead and pull your bolt out, set that aside, take apart the ram cap, slide that out the back, tap this down, out comes your ram. That's about it for your ram. All you got to do is just keep this clean, keep it wiped down. Maybe about every 5 to 10 cases, lube this up with a fresh coat of Dow 55. Stick it back into the gun. Take your back cap. Stick it on here. Tighten it down. Go ahead and put your bolt back in. That's it. What I'm going to show you really quickly is how to lubricate your poppet. There's actually one screw that goes through your gun. It goes into your port here, through your frame, and into your low pressure regulator. So how you lube your poppet is simply unscrew the front screw, pop off the low pressure regulator, reach inside there, pull out the spring, reach inside there again with a pair of long needle nose pliers, and you can pull out your poppet. This also comes in handy if you're swapping out your poppet for the new low pressure poppet, which really changes the signature of the gun. Pretty much the biggest advantage of going to the low pressure poppet is it's going to make your gun a little bit quieter, it's going to use a little bit more air, and it may reduce the recoil a little bit because it is a softer cushion when your gun shoots. So lube up your poppet, go ahead and stick it back down into the gun all the way until it stops. There it goes, you heard it click into place. Then take your low pressure regulator. Now your low pressure regulator has a port. This hole here, this hole needs to be facing down because your screw goes into that hole. So let's go ahead and slide that in. Okay.
Did you tell her about the PhD? I wouldn't do that. Did you tell her to get the knife? Things are cool on her own. I wouldn't want to influence how artistic choices.
And you screw that back down. And once you install your grip frame, basically what I suggest you do with your grip frame, start with the back screw first, put that into the groove, put it in place. Let's go ahead and plug in the wire harness. Alright. Now we'll go ahead and put in the torpedo. And now what we'll do is we will screw in the LPR tester to set our low pressure reg at 75 psi. After a while, even with a Protege or a Vice, you can't get the settings down as low as 6 on your dwell, but I definitely recommend starting off with 8. Seems to work pretty good, especially when you're breaking in some O-rings. So now what we did here was we got the gauge screwed in here. So screwing a tank with some pressure. Now, a good starting point on your high pressure regulator is to give this about 4 turns in. So let's go 1, 2, 3, about 3.5 feels about right. Okay, and then now what we're going to do is we're going to take our low pressure regulator. Now we have it at flush right now, so let's see how many turns we need to get it to 75. Okay, there's 1. We're at about 50. Okay, about 1.5. Looks like about 1.5 turns in from flush got us to about 75. So if you need a good place to start at about 1.5 turns from flush. If you dry fire and it stings your hand, it should be at about 300 feet per second. So let's see. Okay, it stings a little bit, so it should be at about 300 feet per second. And that's about how to take apart a vise. Very